This month on 219 West, the Excelsior Scholarship. New York becomes the first state to offer free tuition at public colleges. But how many students will it actually help? Gender gap. Some of the world's best athletes are struggling just to make a living. Why women's wages are still unequal in sports. Noisy neighbors. Residents in a New Jersey suburb say they're all for free speech. But how loud is too loud? Up-and-comer. A young rapper from Cleveland escapes a hard life through his lyrics. And we celebrate 10 years at the CUNY Graduate School of Journalism. Hello and welcome to 219 West. I'm Fran Kalinsky.
And I'm Chanel Dawson. Paying for college has never been harder. More than 2/3 of today's college graduates have student loan debt, and the average amount they owe is more than $30,000. Overall, Americans owe $1.3 trillion in student loans. That's more than we owe credit card companies. It's no wonder this has become a hot-button political issue. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo recently announced a high-profile, first-in-the-nation program designed to help students at public colleges and universities. But how many will actually be eligible? I visited CUNY campuses here in the city to find out. New York's governor is a man who knows how to draw attention.
This is serious.
Cuomo has denied rumors he's thinking about a run for president. But in April, he came to the city to announce a new scholarship program, holding a carefully orchestrated event that looked a lot like a campaign rally, complete with the ultimate Democratic surrogate, Hillary Clinton.
You move to New York, you make your commitment in New York, you can get an affordable college education.
They were there to introduce the Excelsior Scholarship, a new program cutting the cost of tuition at public colleges and universities for middle-class residents. They said they wanted it to be a model for the rest of the nation.
We have free public college for any family who's making $125,000 or below, so no child will be denied college because they can't afford it.
The governor's office said 80% of all families with college-age kids, nearly 1 million New York families, would be eligible based on salary. Headlines on the internet and across the country proclaimed New York the first state in the nation to pass free tuition for all students. But you know that saying, nothing in life is free? That seems to be the case with Excelsior. David Solano, a junior at City College, was excited to learn about the scholarship program.
Immediately I thought, oh wow, so I won't have to take a loan out. I could just get this scholarship and do it through that.
But his excitement was short-lived.
I am not eligible. I found out there's actually a lot of reasons why.
One reason? Solano is a fifth-year undergrad. Students who are currently enrolled in a CUNY or SUNY school are only eligible if they are on track to complete their degree on time. What's more, they have to be enrolled in college full-time and maintain a high GPA in order to get and keep the free tuition.
It really only serves the students that have the privilege of not having the stress of having to work full-time or even part-time, or if you have children.
The Excelsior is considered a last dollar program, which means the plan goes into effect only after other scholarships and grants have kicked in. So it's not necessarily benefiting the poorer students whose tuition is often covered by federal Pell Grants or state aid. What these students need most? Assistance with living expenses, books, and arbitrary fees, which are not covered by Excelsior.
If you qualify for the scholarship, you get the tuition free. But then if you want to live on campus, or if you have to live on campus, you're still on your own and you're going to have to take out loans, and it's still going to put you in a decent amount of debt.
Adding insult to injury, the same legislation that created the Excelsior Scholarship also calls for a $1,000 increase in tuition at public colleges over the next 5 years, which means that those who don't qualify will actually have to pay more. Mike Devin is a member of Make CUNY Free Again, a campus group that opposes the governor's plan.
So we have Cuomo's plan, and people like to talk about that. And it's all over the media, and people think that we've won when they see that our governor thinks that free education is a good thing. But it turns out that that plan is exclusionary.
Because, he says, the estimated 8,300 undocumented undergrads in New York's public system are not eligible. The other catch? After graduating, students must live and work in New York for the same number of years they've received the scholarship. If not, they risk paying back the state the funding they've received for school.
Well, me personally, I would like to travel and go places. So if I'm like binded by staying in this program, then I feel like I'm limited to my education.
So with all these qualifiers, how many students are actually left? SUNY originally estimated that 80,000 of its students would be eligible for the scholarship, a number that was widely quoted in the press. But a few weeks later, they revised that estimate. Across all the campuses of SUNY and CUNY, they now say only 31,300 students will qualify. That's just 5% of undergrads. There's a lot of confusion surrounding Excelsior, as we found when we visited 4 different CUNY campuses in the weeks following the legislation's passage. Many students weren't even aware of it. Have you heard of the Excelsior Scholarship?
No.
You have not?
No.
No, I haven't heard of it.
No.
Tell me, what's it?
We reached out to several high school counselors and college prep programs for an interview, but the consensus? They just didn't know enough about Excelsior to go on camera. And the governor's office did not return multiple calls or emails to 219 West. In the meantime, one student we spoke with says she'll take whatever she can get.
The government is helping you pay for your tuition. You got your tuition. The least you could do, right? Pay for your books, pay for your boarding. At least it's one thing that's not on your mind, and stop complaining.
This month marks the 45th anniversary of Title IX, the groundbreaking law that prohibited sex discrimination in schools and opened the door for many women and girls to participate in sports. But those women are still playing on an uneven field, earning far less than men in the same sports. In 2014, there were 52 NBA players who each made more than the entire WNBA combined. That's just one of the many startling statistics that illustrate the huge gap between men and women in sports. Some of the world's best athletes say it's time for a change. Here's Joaquin Torres.
Around here, Friday night football means something different. One of the girls running drills is 10-year-old Harry, who says she has a dream.
My friend once asked me, what are you gonna be like in 20 years? And I said, hopefully a professional soccer player on the women's US team.
But Harry already knows it won't be easy. And it's not just the competition that worries her.
I once heard that women get paid less, even though they work a little harder.
Do you think it's fair?
Not really, because most people say that men are usually stronger than women, which is not very fair.
I mean that both.
I can beat up both my brothers.
Oh.
The reality for professional female players is worse than Harry realizes. The pay ceiling, the maximum amount a player can earn in the Women's National Soccer League, is just $41,700 for a season. The minimum, just $15,000, which means most players can't even afford their living expenses.
National team players, for sure, they can, but for me, I have a job in the off season since our season is so short.
These girls are setting that standard of, pushing for the wages to be higher so that these young kids that are watching and want to dream of being a professional athlete can be a professional athlete and get the wages they deserve.
Everywhere we go. On a recent Sunday afternoon, fans took the bus from New York to New Jersey for a Sky Blues season home opener. The popularity of female soccer in America is growing, but the wage gap between men and women is huge. On average, a male soccer player earns around $300,000 a year. That's more than the salary cap for a whole team in the women's league.
There's definitely a huge gap in the wage structure between males and females, and it's unfortunate. It's very tough for the Sky Blue players, not just them, but every player in NWSL, because the wages on a yearly basis are not enough. It's getting better, but it's not enough.
Raquel Rodriguez scored a winning goal in Blues' victory against Kansas City. Rodriguez is from Costa Rica. There she says things are even worse. There isn't even a professional women's soccer league.
There's no professional soccer, that means there's no salary whatsoever. And I'm here and, when you see the national team players, for example, fight for equal pay, of course there's a point in that, but then my background, I'm well, I've never earned money for doing this.
Women in the national team make about 40% of what their male counterparts do. But the difference is higher when we are talking about prize money. Men team got $9 million just for advancing beyond the 60s in the last World Cup, while women earned $2 million for winning the World Tournament. The staggering wage gap led the national women's team to sue U.S. Soccer, but last year, a judge ruled in the federation's favor.
That's obviously something that we're fighting to close the gap, and it's a tough battle, and we obviously went through a very public one, and so we just got to keep fighting, and as women, we just need to stand together and keep fighting for what we believe we are valued at.
And the gap isn't just in soccer. Salaries in women's basketball are not a slam dunk either. The highest salary in the WNBA is around $100,000. That's not even close to the NBA, where many players earn millions. Tim Quaterman of the Portland Trail Blazers earned more than $500,000 last year for playing only 80 minutes.
It's crazy, but there's so much more money involved in the NBA, so they have more to go around.
Julian Vianney, who played professional basketball in Armenia after college, says American players are valued more overseas than in their own country.
If you're an American and you go overseas to play, usually you're the highest paid player, just because you're American. If you go to the highest league in Europe, if you go to like a Russia, you know, the women will be paid $900,000 a year there.
The wage disparity is seen throughout professional women's sports. In the ring, she is known as Amanda the Real Deal Serrano. She is the only woman in boxing history to win world championships in 5 different divisions. But despite her dominance in the sport, she earns only a fraction of what male boxers make.
We're not fighting only in the ring, we're fighting outside to try to, make money different places.
On the average, a world champion can make $1 million. A female fighter would not make $100,000.
And still the WBO female junior featherweight champion of the world.
Amanda's record led Showtime to air the January fight between Serrano and Yasmin Rivas as the top match of the card. It was the first time in a decade a women's fight headlined a national boxing broadcast. She earned just $200,000.
The biggest boxing event in 2017.
1 month later, Amanda's childhood idol, Oscar de la Hoya, came to New York to promote a men's fight between Saul Alvarez and Julio Cesar Chavez. Canelo Alvarez took home more than $36 million.
We do sell tickets. I think we are an attraction. We can fight. So I don't understand why we're not getting equal pay. I get paid the amount of Pacquiao's cornerman.
Top female athletes feel they should be paid like their male counterparts. But the reality is many of them are fighting just to make the kind of money that would allow them to live from playing their sport. For Tonight West, I'm Joaquin Torres in Piscataway, New Jersey.
Anti-abortion protesters have been rallying outside a clinic in New Jersey almost every weekend for the last 5 years. Many in the town are upset, but it's not what you're thinking. This isn't about politics, it's about peace of mind. Milana Vin explains.
For most people, Saturdays are a day to relax, to sleep in. Not Robert Parker.
I have to wake up about 6:30 in the morning, get ready. Here we are.
At least twice a month, Parker makes the 40-minute drive from his home to Englewood, arriving early to make sure he's there when the Metropolitan Associates Clinic opens at 8 o'clock.
It's tough in the morning, but I make it out here because just to see one child saved, it's all worth it.
For 3 years now, Parker and other members of his church have been coming to try to convince women not to have abortions. Luis Zapata is also a member of the Bread of Life Fellowship.
God sent me there not just for the babies. God sent me there for the owner of the clinic, the nurses, the security guard, the escorts, because they need to know about the gospel.
But this story isn't just about religious or reproductive rights. It's about a different kind of R&R. To make sure the women inside the clinic hear the preaching, Parker and other protesters use a microphone and a loudspeaker.
And the people are willing, they'll be so...
That noise can be heard throughout the neighborhood, and residents like Herb Byron say it wakes them up way too early.
I don't want to hear this every weekend. I don't. Baby killer and all the crazy stuff that they say. I don't want to hear this every weekend. That's not why I moved here.
Kim Latimer, a hairdresser at Allure, which is across the street from the abortion clinic, says she hears protesters on Saturday mornings. Her clients sometimes complain about it too.
It's a disturbing issue, and then they're screaming about it when you're on your way to get your hair done. It's a little strange, no?
And Jerry, a volunteer at the clinic, who asked us not to use her last name, says the situation is getting worse.
In the last year, the amplification has gotten much louder. It's shockingly loud.
Parker says confrontations with neighbors are nothing new. He believes it's political.
There are people come here and you'll see it constantly yelling at us, flipping their finger at us, threatening us, doing all I can to try to chase us out of here.
And I hate that shit that ain't there!
Zapata says he was confronted by a resident once and stood his ground.
The person came. I said, I cannot sleep. It was 8:30 in the morning Saturday. It was able to sleep. So he called the security guard, the police. Why they not shut up? So the police and the security guard they told them, say no, they had the right to be here.
No one questions where the protesters have a right to be here. Everyone agrees they have a right to assemble and voice their opinion. The question is, how loud can they be?
God almighty! You can see both sides of it. It's just, I don't know that it should be done so like this. All you're doing is disturbing everybody.
Am I anti-protest? No. I just think there should be limits on what protesters can do.
Norman Dottie, a member of the state's Noise Control Council, says there are limits. According to Englewood's noise regulations, protesters are allowed to use loudspeakers starting at 7 a.m. with a maximum amplification of 65 decibels. So we asked Dottie to check the noise level of the protest.
So I can hear them down the street there. The level is in the, as you can see, is in the high 50 range. What it is right now is acceptable.
It's acceptable,
even though it's amplified.
Even with amplification, the protest only registered in the high 50s, which falls within the regulated noise limits.
They're within the legal limits. Wow, then the legal limits need to be lowered. I went out this morning to get my paper downstairs and then just go get a bagel. And I stood right outside the door. I swear to God, they sounded like they were right on the corner. That's crazy that that's the legal limit.
Why are you so angry at a person that is out here who loves children? You know, why are you angry at us? It should be the other way around.
Parker says if the neighbors don't like it, they can do something about it.
Say, listen, you guys should move out of this. Move this murder clinic out of here.
In the meantime, Parker says they will continue to protest until the clinic closes down. For 219 West, I'm Ilana Vin in Englewood, New Jersey.
An up-and-coming young rapper from Cleveland managed to get off the streets and into the music industry. Kayla Rivera recently met up with him in his hometown to learn more about his remarkable story.
Freestyle made him famous. Wordplay comes naturally to 20-year-old Ezzy Walker, better known as Ezzy. His music has gained attention from fans all around the world.
Yeah, I like him. He's cool.
And it's not just his music. Ezzy had a recurring role as a young rapper on the hit Fox series Empire. He's gained attention from celebrities like the rapper Nas, who executive produced The Land, a film Ezzy starred in.
What is that? Oh, this is Molly. Yo, you crazy? We could sell these. Can't even help our family.
The movie is about life on the streets of Cleveland, a topic Ezzy knows something about.
Packing my bags, moving on to something better. Goodbye, ghetto, I promise I'ma love you forever.
I don't know. This whole area is bad, though, so I'm just glad we out of it.
Ezzy grew up in the projects on the east side of Cleveland, where he was exposed to the dangers of living in a rough neighborhood.
Normal hood stuff, you know, shootings, prostitution, you know. You see people buying drugs, selling drugs, doing crack.
That life plays out in his songs. When Ezzy was 13, his older brother went to prison for burglary.
It impacted me in a way to make me want to go harder.
He says it gave him motivation to do better in his own life, but his brother's incarceration wasn't the only loss he suffered. Ezzy's cousin Tito, one of his best friends, was shot and killed in his driveway last year.
We was cousins, you know what I'm saying? So we did stupid stuff together, played video games, spent the night at each other's houses. Normal cousin stuff, you feel me?
He remembered him on his birthday in January.
Happy birthday, Tito. I miss you a lot. I tried to get us out the hood, but I guess I took too long.
We were with Ezzy as he visited his cousin's grave for the first time since his death.
Man, just crazy to think like how we was like the same age really, you know what I'm saying? He was 21, I was 20. And just contrasting like where we ended up, you know what I'm saying?
Ezzy's mom Alicia did what she could to keep him off the streets.
For me, it was like, I can't let him go outside. I have to take him out of here, away from here. So I take him to the studio, be there till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, then go to school at 8 o'clock. And then tell his principal he didn't get to do his homework last night because he had a show.
Shows like this one opening up for Drake in 2011.
For me, that was just one of those times when I was like, okay, wow, he's really doing this thing. So
Jeff McClellan was Ezzy's high school principal.
He'd worked hard in school, but he had his own path through school, and so it was just really great to see him getting to like see his dreams start to come into reality.
So I'd always just like not tell people what I was doing. I never told people really, but then they'll see like me posted online. They'd be like, "Yo, bro, you was with so and so," and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that was like a few days ago after math." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Ezzy's mom says the support he got at school was invaluable.
It was a community effort. Everybody saw something in him, and everybody worked together to be able to let him accomplish what they knew he could do.
Ezzy was determined to get his family out of the projects, and recently moved his mom and his brothers to a house of their own in a quiet street in a nice neighborhood.
Moving to a better area, of course, it's all I wanted to do for my kids. My kids could go outside and play.
She says she's proud of Ezzy for being a role model, something she says is uncommon for men who grew up in their neighborhood.
I can't say enough about my son. I just really can't. He's just really a good kid and a loving young man that wants to make this world a better place.
What's good, bro?
Bro, what's up, though? I want you to hear this new song I got right now. I'm about to put Red Flames on that this holiday. I used to want some fame, but I want that money.
In his old neighborhood, people know Ezzy. He's one of the ones that got out. One thing's for certain, music is always on Ezzy's mind. For 219 West, I'm Kayla Rivera in Cleveland.
This year marked the CUNY Graduate School of Journalism's 10-year anniversary. Our alums are working in the nation's top newsrooms, from the New York Times to the Washington Post, Bloomberg to BuzzFeed. Faculty member Bob Sasha recently put together this short film celebrating students, alums, and faculty from our first 10 years.
I'm a New York City kid. I grew up in the city. I went to public schools. I went to City College. And I believe in journalism. I've wanted to be a journalist since I was 10 years old. So when I was given the opportunity to start this school, I was just thrilled. It played to everything I believed in about journalism and about public education. We thought of it as a new school for a new era. When we started, it was really a startup. There was nothing here. There was no curriculum, there were no classrooms, there was no faculty, there were no students. We had to create all that. The traditional business model of journalism is collapsing. We need to come up with new ideas to support journalism. We need to have new forms of journalism.
Every morning when I get up, I try to figure out what are the skill sets that are needed for the next generation of journalists, and what do our students need to know in order to get jobs. When you come to this school, almost the very first thing you do is you get thrown out onto the street. And the reason is that you need to learn how to talk to people and interview them and extract information. It opens our eyes every day to realize how many different cultures and communities are in this city. And I think the fact that a public graduate school of journalism puts a stake in the ground and says, we're here to serve you too, is really important.
It's not
I decided to come to CUNY Journalism School because of the curriculum. I felt like I would learn all the multimedia skills that I would need in order to succeed in today's journalism industry. Every week is different. Every week you encounter different challenges.
It's very hard. I've never had a job. I mean, I've never had a hard
But you really leave at the end of the night thinking you moved yourself forward as a journalist. But in the Bronx, some are still searching to overcome their pasts.
Wait for the moment to develop.
You see a lot of our alumni really contributing to the local ecosystem of news here, which I think is fabulous. Watching them become leaders themselves, that's the ultimate success.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Aisha Al-Muslim, and I am a business reporter for Newsday. In 2014, I was named a Pulitzer Prize finalist for a series on police misconduct. Hi, how are you doing? One of the reasons that I went to the CUNY-J school is because of the diversity there. You see people from all over the place, from different parts of the world, different parts of the United States, and of course you have New Yorkers like me.
CUNY-J school offered the internships, the on-the-ground experience, learning a trade and learning a craft that I knew that I wouldn't get anywhere else. I know people who work at the New York Times, Vox Media, BuzzFeed News. I mean, the top news organizations in the country hire CUNY graduates. They know that we know how to report, they know that we know how to write, they know that we know how to shoot video, and can kind of be thrown at anything.
There is a professional group in journalism, as there is in all fields, that accredits schools. What they said was, it defies logic that a new graduate school of journalism could come so far, so fast. That startup spirit has remained.
Journalism today needs people with different perspectives, different life experiences, different economic backgrounds. We provide that pathway.
They really do want to be the premier public journalism institution in the country and are constantly moving towards that goal. That's something that you're not going to find anywhere else.
Coming here has been one of the greatest decisions of my life. If you are ready for 16 months that is full of frenzy, excitement, adventure, challenge, and new opportunities, then you should come.
The industry is undergoing such massive transformation right now. We don't have the trust of the public. We need to figure out how to regain it. And we need to be the kind of place that is responsive to the speed of change. And I think that openness to change, that willingness to embrace change, is the most essential part of the DNA that we have here.
And that's it for this month's episode of 219 West. For all of us here at the CUNY Graduate School of Journalism, I'm Chanel Dawson.
And I'm Fran Kalinsky. Thanks for watching.